and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. It's Christmas time! Man, you know what's so great about this new set? The garland and lights actually hold up better here than on the old shelves. I'd tape them down there. But yeah, let's start the festive season off with the most appropriate of subjects, Rob Liefeld. Yes, as you may recall, Awesome Comics was the company that Rob pushed once he had broken away from Image Comics, taking Alan friggin' Moore with him. This was all outlined in the Youngblood Judgment Day review I did last year. Most of that story was about establishing an Awesome Comics universe, a legacy of heroes that mostly served as pastiches of DC characters. However, now that that's all established, we can take a look at some short stories featuring these characters in a holiday special. And hell, Alan Moore actually does write one of the stories in this, and frankly I'm hard-pressed to think of him writing anything related to Christmas or the like, so I'm eager to see if he goes schmaltzy, deconstruction-y, if it has anything to do with the season, etc, etc. And hey, the last time I looked at a holiday comic having to do with Youngblood, it was that horrible one that introduced us all to Troll. So, you know, it has to be better than that. So let's dig into the Awesome Comics Holiday Special and see if it actually holds up to that name.
Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where Yuletide candles burn. Linkara's gonna give you all a present you've not earned. Not Mensch, you're not the brightest. Frank Miller, you're off the nice list. If you're a comic writer who misuses a license, your gift will be returned. Digging through the shelves for the kind of comic books that would turn Santa's elves into common crooks. He reads them and he weeps while down the chimney creeps. Pajamas with a Marvel trade to watch him when he sleeps. Linkara, he built a snowman, now it has a hole. Linkara, 8 maids a milking and a Youngblood troll. Linkara, only one Dickens homage away from going chestnuts. Linkara, this Christmas comic sucks.
The cover is kinda meh, not terrible, but not particularly interesting either. A bunch of characters that'll be featured in the book standing around bored while holding what I presume to be criminals they've captured. Shaft is really the only one I recognize, and he looks utterly disinterested already. Down below, we've got this lady, I presume to be a member of the Kiss Army, or maybe a knockoff of Domino, and both she and the guy captured have decided to eat this chain flail. Some people eat chocolate Santas for Christmas, others eat chocolate weapons. Meanwhile, we've got Anthony Daniels without his C-3PO mask on, holding the bucket for a charity Santa. Sad that he couldn't find any other work between the original trilogy and the prequels. And finally, we have these ladies that I don't think we've ever covered before, holding up a dude by his leg. And a very angry blue robot that is presumably going to try to murder them all. I see that Neutro finally learned the difference between right and wrong. And chose the latter. The Youngblood label up top is in holofoil, so at least we got some shiny in this. Yeah, not a particularly holiday-ish cover aside from the Santa. Doesn't bode well. Nor does the fact that our first story is indeed drawn by Liefeld, with story also credited to him, though the actual writer is Jeff Loeb, who does 3 out of 4 of the stories. We open with this lady trying to evade this purple dude. Smash! Smash! Well, I see someone wasn't happy about the Minecraft Steve announcement. Get over it. I'm still waiting for Kid Chameleon. You know, don't take this the wrong way or anything, but nobody really wanted to see you again. What, are you kidding? Everyone should watch The Amazing Bulk. It's hilarious. But yeah, this character, Smash, is very clearly a Hulk XB, and fighting this girl, Spice, who's a cyborg with extendo limbs. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh hey, Rob Liefeld actually created another original character. Yeah, no, Spice here is actually an XB of Ricky Barnes, a character he co-created during the Heroes Reborn stuff when Image was writing and drawing 4 Marvel titles. I don't know if she was originally a cyborg there, but art-wise, it's just her with the paint-by-numbers swapped around. This story is actually for Fighting American, who amusingly enough does kind of fit into Liefeld's wheelhouse. They were created by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby in response to reviving Captain America's book in the 50s without their involvement. Basically going, screw you, we'll make our own Captain America! But without blackjack and hookers because we're classy like that. After Marvel canceled their contract with Liefeld for Heroes Reborn, Liefeld decided to repackage his work as Fighting American, trying to get the license from Joe Simon and Jack Kirby's widow, but was unhappy with the licensing fee they quoted. As a result, he made a ripoff of a ripoff named Agent America, and they threatened to sue him, negotiating a deal with them that he finally accepted, and ended up getting sued by Marvel when his version of Fighting American was even more of a Captain America ripoff. Even getting a shield that, in the settlement of the legal dispute, the character was never allowed to throw like a weapon. This has been a special holiday edition of Comic History You Don't Care About But Need to Know in Order to Understand This. You know it's a Christmas miracle when I bring back that old chestnut. Anywho, on the subject of the season, you can't think of Christmas without thinking of kids. They taste great with cherry cordials. Smash, smash? That wasn't an original line the first time I heard it, and it hasn't improved with age. Really gotta wonder if Jeff Loeb was poking at Rob Liefeld with this. The narrator says that Spice looks and acts like a 16-year-old girl, whereas Smash just thinks like a child. As relentless as a wind-up toy. You mean the thing that dies out pretty quickly because you can only wind something so much? But yeah, Spice and her goggles, that apparently are just glued to the front of her face without any other way of attachment, kick Smash, who is so shocked by this turn of events that his face does not change in any way to react to being kicked. I can't have something as ugly as you plopping out of somebody's chimney at this time of year. You could give Santa Claus a bad name. Is there any risk of that happening? The beginning of this comic said that they were just at a classified army base. Was the purpose of this place to genetically engineer Santa Claus, and instead they ended up with the Grimace here? Smash punches her back. Okay, I don't have to be the good girl I know I've been all year to figure out. You tag me like that one more time, and you're gonna find a nice big lump of coal in your stocking. I feel like making Christmas puns to someone who doesn't understand them is kind of a waste. She tries to launch out some kind of energy bolts from her finger lasers. So since I was given the ability to speak every known language in the world, let's put it this way. Spice, smash, smash! Actually, lady, Smash's native language is Greek. The energy bolts don't work, so she slashes at his head with some kind of claws she now has, and that decapitates Smash. And from the looks of things, Smash was actually a robot with purple blood. And nearby is Fighting American and Thunder God. You know, the God Thor is copyright free. You didn't need to make an XP. Verily, she doth have spirit. Told you. Christmas spirit at that. Yeah, and that's kind of weird because it's actually Labor Day. But this is one present we won't be able to take back to the store. No sweat, Pops. It did the trick. And besides, it's the thought that counts. That's the end of the story, and we have been given no explanation about what's going on, why this fight is happening, why Smash is a robot, etc., etc. It's the thought that counts, but it's clear no thought was actually given to anything happening. Just, that's your lot for this story. A random, contextless fight scene, but with Christmas puns. God bless us, everyone. Anyway, we move on to the Alan Moore story. No real title for it other than Youngblood Prologue featuring Shaft. We open with Shaft sitting in a dark room reading some books. September was a dog of a month. Riptide murdered, Sentinel found guilty at a high-profile trial, Youngblood disbanded, my power got shut off because I forgot to pay the bill. He explains what happened to some of the teams since the events of Judgment Day. Combat went into space, Vogue went back to the Soviet Union, because I guess the Soviets are still a thing in Youngblood. Badrock got a part as himself in the new Youngblood trial cash-in movie. I think one of the Baldwins is playing me. It's Alec. His Shaft impression is about as impressive as others I could name. Also makes me wonder if it's a goofy cartoon like Badrock's show was in Youngblood number 9. Anyway, Shaft exposits about how he decided to visit a guy named Waxy Doyle, a rich eccentric who got his fortune through furniture polish. In the 40s, Doyle was a fifth-string superhero called Waxman. Now he wants to relive his youth in Proxy by founding a new Youngblood. Oh my god, we're in a holiday anthology and Alan Moore is still inventing new superheroes for the Awesome Comics universe's backstory. The only difference between him and Rob is that his ideas actually have weight to them. His mansion, House of Wax naturally, will be turned over to the new team as a headquarters. Their first enemy? Vincent Price. The only condition that Doyle had was that his adopted son Leonard gets to be on the team. Leonard is in a wheelchair and a bit of a jerk according to Shaft. He did this big routine about how all the black guys in Youngblood turned out to be evil, like Chapel and Sentinel. Yeah, that is pretty crappy. They reveal that Leonard is not just some fan who wants to join the group, but rather has a series of 5 robots of different size that he can bring to the team, including the big blue one from the cover. They're all called Big Brother. When I asked him where the 5th one was, he just started laughing and stared at his pet rat. The largest robot can also serve as a transportation vehicle instead of a jet, though arguably that's more awesome because it's a giant friggin' robot. So kudos for living up to the company name. They hold an open audition for new members, with Doyle in particular saying they need to focus on the youth aspect. Frankly, I think he just likes teenage girls. But I didn't say anything. Hey, I like teenage girls. You're both creepy assholes. The girl with stars on her eyes from the cover is Twilight, who used to serve with a guy named Professor Knight and was even on TV in the 60s. It's just she was in suspended animation for 25 years. She kicks Shaft in the face, and that makes me happy. Next up is Suprema, basically a Supergirl pastiche. Then the kid with the weird bronze suit from the cover is named Johnny Panic, who can create elaborate holograms with his technology. As seen in this utter nightmare, he shows off. He calls himself Johnny Panic, which he tells me is a quotation from Sylvia Plath. I'm not sure, but I think that's the lead singer from Garbage.
You're kind of an idiot, aren't you?
The final applicant is Rachel Richards, the granddaughter of one of Doyle's old colleagues named Doc Rocket. She wants to keep the name going and demonstrates her super speed abilities by quickly changing outfits. Later that night, I watched a security camera replay, slowed down almost 1,000 times. I still didn't see where she got the costume from. And given your previous statement and what that panel showed, clearly you were watching that video for other reasons, you perverted sack of crap. Not kidding either. He confirms this by saying he watched the video 15 times. Ew. Shaft exposits how things were rough as they started training in early December, but everyone got on each other's nerves. They only started gelling once Christmas rolled around, and they had to fight a supervillain called Stormhead on Christmas Eve. Other than that, Christmas was pretty quiet. And there's your justification for putting this in a Christmas comic. And the dude, I guess, was using his powers to make it rain instead of snow. To make it extra not Christmassy. Maybe 1998 will be a better year. 22 years later, dude, I can assure you, it could be so much worse. It's a perfectly fine setup for their new Youngblood book, but man, does this not belong in a holiday special. We've got 2 more stories to go through, and you've probably noticed the back of this thing during the review. Much like a lot of early 90s Image books, this is a flip book, where the remaining 2 stories can be read by flipping the comic the other way. It's just so weird to see this in 1997. Who gave a crap about gimmicky nonsense like this at that point? We should probably talk about the flip book cover. And yeesh, if the front cover barely had anything to do with Christmas, this has even less, featuring the character Kaboom shooting an energy bolt at, like, some kind of cartoony ring or light with faces on it? What the hell does this have to do with the holidays?
Dude, traditional Christmas stuff is just so lame. Who needs trees and love and goodwill when you can have explosions? Just saying, A Christmas Carol would have been over in like 5 minutes if Tiny Tim could just make stuff explode!
Our third story, Holy Night, opens with a snowy scene of a guy approaching a church. Hell's Kitchen, round midnight.
It's raw. It's fucking raw!
It is a rough little section of New York City that many would rather forget exists. But one man cannot let go of. The hot dog I bought from here years ago was overpriced, damn it! The guy enters the church, where an altar boy named Donald Gallagher is working. The guy in the coat reaches for some holy water, but it burns him. That, plus the red skin, reveals that he's demonic in some way. Further revealed by this shot. You know, the Almighty has a sense of humor. Well, sure. I mean, have you ever seen a red-lipped batfish? Did your Father Crosswell teach you that in Sunday school? Well, yeah, but the parable he told was about God giving some teenager superpowers who then called himself Psycho Man? You knew Father Crosswell? I've run into him, and he's run into me. Kind of an overdramatic way of saying we go to the same board game night. Some kind of weird demonic creatures suddenly emerge and attack the dude in this 2-page spread I have to turn on its side. Oh, and thank God they put this image in that style. I mean, how else would you demonstrate the sheer magnitude of this moment in only, like, 1 page? So I'm guessing this actually is Father Crosswell, since the creatures say, "You took this mortal name, Jamal. You knew he couldn't have that." The guy says he goes by the name Scratch these days, and of course I have no idea who this guy is or his backstory, so this is all guesswork on my part. The altar boy comes out and tosses the holy water at the creatures to distract them, giving Scratch an opening to do something that sends the creatures away to hell, I guess. While the altar boy recites the Lord's Prayer, Scratch just complains. What's all that about? I had a bad night, and this cashmere overcoat is never gonna be the same. So don't go looking for a thank you. Hey, you're the one who decided to wear it in the middle of a snowstorm, dude. Father Crosswell, he told me once, the Lord can only help those who wish to help themselves. Did Father Crosswell say that? Idiot. Indeed he was. That phrase actually originates to ancient Greece and referred to gods plural. It's sad when this is technically the most Christmassy story so far in this, and I'm only guessing what the hell it's actually about. Plus, there's nothing about the holidays in it. It's just the snow and religious angle. Technically, Liefeld's Spice Story had more in it because of all the puns and at least a little snow, but hey, maybe we saved the best for last in a story called Babes in Toyland. Okay, so it's Christmas Eve and my dad says it's okay to go into Midtown and do some last-minute shopping. Which for me would be all my shopping. Look, kid, I can assure you, as an adult, you can just get us gift cards. We're not that picky. However, the kid, Jeff Sunrise, is actually feeling pretty good about this trip because it allows him to hang out with Alicia, a girl he's into, and Kate Winslow, his best friend. And who knows every secret I have, including that thing I tried to do with the candy canes. And that must never be spoken of again outside of me, her, and my pet hamster. He exposits that one of those secrets are his gloves, which regulate the power of something called the kaboom cycle. Don't try to understand it, just trust me. Oh, I do! Unlike the first and third stories, you're actually giving exposition about who the hell you are and what your deal is. It's kind of refreshing. The gloves give him great powers, but he's on the fence about whether he should actually use that power. Standard superhero drama. I love Christmas. I think I'm getting a Miata. Miata. Sure, what else would you get the girl who has everything? Oh, I could think of a few things. Staring at a giant Christmas tree, Jeff notices that the reflection in one of the ornaments isn't his own, and suddenly it gets dark as some kind of beam of light emerges from the ornament. Oh god, Noel from that crappy old TV special has gone berserk! He has an evil! The light actually blasts a hole through Kaboom's shoulder, but fortunately the gloves also give him regenerative powers that heal it up. Still, it might be bad if that thing hits anybody else, so he keeps goading the light on so it'll pay attention to him. Instead, it heads for the girls, but fortunately he's able to grab hold of it and take it into the basement away from the civilians. The light turns into a humanoid form, with a backwards cap and some weird mummy wrappings. Damn you, ancient Egypt! Now you're going after Christmas?! The figure gives some vague warnings to Kaboom about how his mother needs help, much to his shock, as he thought his mother was dead. Might want to lead with that next time instead of punching holes in people. The figure disappears and the lights in the place return, with electric snow falling everywhere, and the people thinking it was just a big show for Christmas. Also, Parappa the Rapper cameo. Jeff returns to the girls, who notice he's under a mistletoe and both give him a kiss on the cheek. And so our comic ends with him knowing that this was a warning and that he has to find his mother. And I guess his family wish the creators Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah. Overall, this comic sucks, but since it's an anthology, we need to go over each story individually. The first one is Perfect Liefeld. It's just a fight scene with nothing interesting happening, featuring rip-offs of much better characters. The artwork is bad, not as bad as it would often get with Rob, but still bad. And the only connection to Christmas is the constant barrage of puns. And I may like puns, but that's all the story had going for it. The Youngblood prologue is fine, but it really has no place in this book, the connection to Christmas only being the very ending, where they mention the fight taking place on Christmas. I'll grant Alan Moore that he realized how useless the regular barrage of Youngblood characters were, so jettisoned them in favor of new ones, but it still is really meant as an introduction to a new Youngblood volume, not having a place in this book. Holy Night is very much like the first story in that it's basically just a fight scene, but even less fighting than before, trying to inject a little character into it, but without any context, it's just guesswork. The artwork is fine, but still has the same kind of 90s wonkiness when it came to books like this, trying to emulate Spawn more than anything else. Babes in Toyland is the best story in the anthology, since it has plenty of Christmas elements. We get a backstory for our main character, some details that will probably pay off later in his own book, and it just works as a quick short story. But it also has a weird lack of explanation for stuff, like what the light is exactly, why it was racing around putting holes in people when it was a message for Kaboom, etc., etc. Still, again, a complete story, and it properly fits with a holiday anthology and gives us all the relevant details we would need to know, given there might be new readers. The artwork isn't that great, but it's not god-awful. The entire anthology is just lame in various not fun ways. Like a sampler of various books Awesome Comics puts out, but not in any way that'd be enticing for new readers. Next time, we'll hopefully have some more fun and something more festive as we take another visit to the UK for some more Transformers holiday shenanigans. Maybe I'll go watch that video again. Thanks, Alan Moore. You've truly made me hate a character that I was mostly indifferent to before.
Hello, my friends. Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for notifications on new video releases. If you'd like to support future videos, you can check out my Patreon or purchase a t-shirt via Teespring or Shark Robot. Thanks for watching.